Hello, everybody. Welcome to Trader Minutes. Great to have you on board. I'm Carl. Thanks for tuning in this afternoon or morning, wherever you're at. And look at the market here. The market's pulled back off the highs. It's still up seven. Pretty bullish day today. Got up to an all-time high. We'll see if it sets the all-time high today. But yeah, broke 1850, and yeah, looking all right technically. And the market's pretty strong. If we look at the futures here, you see the highs right up in around here, 1845 range. Pulled back off those a little bit, but overall, the market's looking pretty strong. Our position in Boeing, I'm Bank of America. I was looking at Boeing up here and said Boeing. Our position in Bank of America about 40 cents. All right, so if you take a close look at this, look at the pre-market reaction here to the earnings announcement this morning. Initially shot up and held around the 1710 area. It's been above the level ever since. Um, if it breaks 1710, it might be some cause of some a small concern. Maybe take some profits there. But really, I mean, you look over here and say, look at Bank of America. Yeah, you could say it could be a gravestone up here. We would not be concerned about that. I mean, a 10-cent run into the close today, that's going to erase this. But very bullish price action that we've seen here this morning and holding the level really nice. It's jumped up, pulled back a little bit, and really just kind of gone sideways. So we'll watch and see what it does into the close. But yeah, uh, nice job if you get into this trade. Okay, some of the things on our radar and some of the things I've been watching this morning. Okay, I've been watching Yahoo. Initially, it looked like it might break and try to run up. It still could. We still got a couple hours left in the trading day. Push up in the upper Bollinger Band. You got something going. Right now, it's just flat. There's just nothing going on here technically right now. Qualcomm. Yeah, I know. I feel the hurt here too. But also, you got to look at this technically and see if there's some strong action. And yeah, some strong action off of a downgrade yesterday to reverse and turn positive, and then today pushing up towards 74. I'd really like Jeff said this morning, I too would like to see 74 break and hold that level. It seems to be a pretty big level of resistance ever since back there in November, and has even on some signs where it looked like it might break and run, like when we jumped in that trade back here late December, right over here. It never got through it. Okay, so the volumes are going to make can help us there as well as to whether or not we think that it might break that area and run. Uh, DFT, a little bit lighter volume stock. Like Jeff's saying here in chat, I haven't traded it either. Lighter volumes typically mean wider spreads on the options if they're optionable. But technically, had a nice move yesterday. If it can hold that 25 mark, it'd be very positive for it. And so far, it's holding it. It jumped above. Really light volumes on it. One thing I'm noticing here, volumes are kind of diminishing. So what you'd want to do if it does consolidate here around 25, 25's got to hold. If 25 can hold and you get another push up off of it, then this thing's probably going up 26, 26 possibly the high is up into that range. But again, that's just looking at this technically. Haven't traded this one here. Okay, some other stocks that I've been watching, Johnson and Johnson, and I brought these up a little bit earlier this morning as well. It's pulled back. It's still a strong technical setup, even though it's pulled back a little bit here, probably just with the market. If it breaks up there and closes towards the highs, then this thing's probably set to go to 100. Could you anticipate, if it did close like this, could you anticipate a break here? Yeah, fairly safe. You could just put a stop, probably put a stop around 94 down here towards the lows of these days right through here. But you notice the price action. So it gets a long ways away from the 7 and then it jumps back above it again. But what does it do when it's consolidating? Look right here and notice these days where all these little all the wicks dips or these shadows, they'll call them, are bought up by the end of the day. Every time for the last, what, week or more, it's sold off to 94, but every time it's bounced back up off that level. There's some buyers down in there stepping in pretty big, so it's positive price action here. A break over that 95 would be bullish confirmation, but even anticipation of a break here, I couldn't argue that at all. And I think it's probably going to run again up towards the $99, $100 level. Next stop for it. Okay, and then Pfizer. Oops. Pfizer. That's a nice bullish setup. It's not. Let me bring in the vibe here. Yeah, it's not too bad, really. I mean, the 50 looks like it's starting to rise. I don't think this would be a vibe after this little bit of a pullback like that, but really it's all it's done is the 50s. It's not going up as fast anymore. But overall, a nice bullish breakout here above the $31 level. It had some strong volumes yesterday. It's probably going to get up to at least the 50-day average there on the volume. That's that purple line that you can't see. If I back out here, you can see it. All right, so yeah, it's a strong move here on Pfizer. As far as Pfizer, they announced earnings on the 28th, but it's another nice technical signal that I've been watching that. And then also GNK, and I know at least one or two of you are in this trade. This too has some nice technical action. It's not a trend rider. It's not a vibe. More nice candlestick bottoming type action. You can see as it came down here to the 225 range, how it got a nice dragonfly doji right there, and getting some follow through on it today on volume. A pretty strong setup here for a stock jumping up. And this is in the shipping sector, and Jeff talked about shippers this morning, how it's an area that looks like about ready to move. So if I want to look at this, I'm going to look at dry ships. For here, what I'd be looking for, and yeah, you can try to anticipate this, a break of 4. The volumes haven't been quite as strong here on the upside, but that's what I'd look for here, is a strong break of 4, get some decent volumes, and this thing's probably off and running. And this, brings back a lot of memories from 6-7 years ago of this stock in the $130 range. Getting to that 130 was pretty amazing to see that stock run like that. Okay, Diana Shipping, a little bit stronger than dry ships here. Nicer setup. It too, I mean, it's got all the averages rising here, not incredibly strong volume, but a nice strong push up over 12.5. So we'll take a closer look at 12.5. Is that any type of a big level for it? Yeah. All through here, 12.5, it would break it, but on the retest it failed every single time. Okay, well, it broke it strongly this time. We're coming back to retest it. Some nice bottoming action right there, and that the day there, and that nice dragonfly doji that we see right there. Got some follow through, and now we're pushing up off of it. Notice the volumes right through this area as well, as it's approaching that 1225 mark. See the volumes increase. Okay, even though those look like they're sell days, we'll look and see what the candle did. What did the stock do? And it pretty much held, the 1225 area, 1220. It held those levels on strong volume. So it tells me the buyers were stepping in on these days pretty heavily. And then today, getting some nice bullish follow through up and over that area. Now I'd like the 12.5 to hold. If 12.5 can hold it, see, the thing is, if you wait for 12.5, a little bit of a pullback here, you might miss that run higher. But right now, this is a pretty decent looking bullish setup. You look at the MACD, and it's down. Well, remember the MACD is a bit of a lagger. It's because the stock has made a pretty significant drop here. A dollar. Is that $1.50? Something like that off the highs. It's a pretty significant move, about 10%, probably 8% on that thing. So that's why that's down. But I wouldn't be surprised to see this run up a little bit from here. So it's a nice looking setup. BRFS, big downtrend, still intact. This one, it could be, oops, sorry. This could be considered a trend, a vibe bear signal, because you got all the averages falling in this case, and so what you'd be looking for is price action here, and I'd like a stronger push below 19. Would be a little bit more confirmation. But when the averages are falling, it's just the opposite. You're looking for a push below the 7. So over here, it gets up above the 7 a little bit. What you're looking for is another close and run back below the 7, like right here. It did the next day. It gaps down and pushes below the 7. That's pretty bearish. All right, and then it gets a long ways away from the 7 at this point. Okay, so this is what would be bearish confirmation. Just a slow uptick or sideways type of price action, not really making any big strong snapbacks to the 7, just nice and slow, getting back to the 7. If this closed down here, in this range, down below 19 and clearly breaks 19, this would be a trend rider, a vibe bear signal, and the stock's probably going to break to new lows here in the last year or so. And no type of a bullish entry here at all. It would be on a bottom, and you'd be a hero if you did call it here. But with this price action, again, I'd like to see it pushed back below, probably about the 1890 level, something like that. A drop down to low, drop into the 1890, 1885 area by the close today would be a much stronger signal than right here holding 19. Okay. Yeah, nice looking chart here. Okay, it's a little bit lighter volume stock. We're up to about 1 million today. I would check before I'd get in. I would check earnings, check to see if they're optionable, and check their options. If you see wide spreads on options, it's typically companies with less than 1 million per day shares traded per day. But you'd be surprised. Sometimes you see stocks that aren't all that heavily traded, and the options aren't that bad. So it's always worth a look on some nice setups. So the action going on here, it's not a vibe. Most likely a trend rider. Yeah, it's jumping into a trend rider here. It's got strong volumes. Let me jump back out for a sec. Okay, the RSI is jumping up off of 50. That's a positive sign for it. Jumping into the band. So how far away is it from the 7 right now? It's about just over $2 away from the 7. And it's also up at past level of resistance here at 42. I don't think I'd chase into this. It might just keep going. It's got the volume suggesting it might keep going. This would be one I'd wait, see if it can't consolidate a little bit, let that 7 catch up with it and play another leg higher. There's a gigantic, if you really want to look at this more long term, there's a big old head and shoulders pattern. Got a couple of shoulders on it here, which is fine for the pattern. 42, you could argue 40, but really the bigger level here of confirmation of a break here would be 42. 40, yeah, it's hit it more times than it's hit 42, so really it's broken out above 40. Just can't seem to hold the level there. But confirmation there, and you got something, because I'll just give it 34. It's actually probably 30, maybe 33 even down here towards the low. So let's go to 33 up here to where it breaks out. That's a pretty aggressive pattern. We're talking, just go, what, $8? $8 just from 34. That's pretty darn aggressive. That would put this up towards 50. Yeah, it could hit it, to fill, this big a bit of a run here. It could hit that. It'd be pretty darn aggressive to think it's going to hit it right away for us. But a break of 40, I'd like to see this consolidate a little bit, let the 7 catch up with it, and then get a push up here above that 42 for more confirmation. It's been up at these levels before and just hasn't been able to hold it. But again, the higher volumes right now suggest it might do it, but I'd just be a little bit patient and see if I can't get a little bit more with it being so far from the 7 right now. Hershey, yeah, this is another one, Slawik, I've been watching today. And Hershey, right, it went on a top three on Monday for me. And this was a vibe bull signal. And it's pulling back a little bit today. So the original plan, where was the stop? The 7. Okay. 7's closer now. It's going to be a pretty tight stop for it. But so far, what have we done? Past resistance right here at 98. It's coming back to retest it. It's doing it the next day, which isn't always that much fun, right? Because you get in the trade and it works well one day and comes back the next. But I'd let this play out. If it breaks the 7, hey, get out. You're going to take a little bit of a loss, but you're going to get out. If it doesn't break the 7, you could see this thing come up here to 100, not out of the question. But right now, it's holding 98. It's still above the 7. And let it play out and see if you can't get a push up off here. All right. And this was another trade that, right, you got a head and shoulders pattern here. And the level for it to break was right through here. Okay. And the day that this one on the top three was on Monday. Remember, Mondays are always these vertical lines, or the Mondays or holidays. But it sold off into the close, so it weakened it a little bit, but you got the follow through the next day, breaking it. Now we're just coming back. It's coming back to confirm, all right, 98, this is going to be support. If it bounces higher from here, it's got 100 written all over it, if not more. So just, again, let it play out. If it closes below the 7 tomorrow, then get out. If it doesn't, stay in and see if it can't get that run up higher there. Nu Skin. Yeah. Dang, I gotta polish that. Nu Skin's on my way to work. I pass it. Their headquarters, world headquarters, are here in Provo, Utah. I guess they got office all around the world, but yeah, likely earnings. I didn't look into them. Likely earnings was in a nice bullish run. Yeah, it might have been in that one little corner of the crystal ball I didn't check, but nice. All right, L3 Communications. So you got all the averages right. So we're in a bull vibe trend here. Trend line. Yeah, this has got a lot going for it here. You can see the more recent trend line right up through here. Okay, it hasn't broken it. It came down to the 7, pushing up off of today. This is bullish price action. There's not a lot of volume on it, but you don't always need the volumes in these established trends. Okay, I mean, you look at the volumes over here when there was another bull vibe signaled. Was it all that great? Not really. Did it stop it? No. It's had a nice trend intact here for quite a long time. So another bullish move today. So yeah, I couldn't argue. If you're in a trade here, couldn't argue holding on to it. As it approaches its past level of resistance, well, what have we done? Well, resistance at 108, or you could say 107, right through that area right there, and that's kind of where it's at right now. But look at the overall picture. Is there still higher highs, higher lows locking in here? Yeah. Higher low up at this point. Odds are it's going to go to higher highs here. It just got to get through this level. It might consolidate around 106 a little bit, but overall, the pattern here is very bullish. Jasray, you caught my little joke there, huh? Hewlett Packard. Oops. Hewlett Packard. Yeah, it's one from yesterday. Top three from yesterday. Nice bullish breakout. And so far, it's come down to retest 28.5. It's back up. It was positive over 29 here. Nothing here. If I'm in a trade here, I don't see anything bearish here at all. Let it continue. I mean, up to once the $30 area is where this is likely to go. There's a little bit of a pullback that even if it closes right here is still very bullish. It's not selling off. It's still holding yesterday's highs. Even a close around here 28.5, I'm not concerned. If the stop's at the 7, hey, let the trade play out. But right now, there's nothing to be worried about here. It's still bullish action, very bullish price action here on HPQ. And then Google. So just looking back at yesterday's, up 39 cents. There's nothing here on Google. That's 0.03%. Uh, Nothing big here technically. There's nothing weak. Overall, the bullish price action we saw yesterday is still there. You know, so let this thing play out a little bit if you're in here. And then APC. Now APC gapped higher. It's pulled back a little bit here as the market's pulled back, but still, if I come out here to the trend, not the trend rider, it's still in the band. Yeah, you could say there's a gravestone here, which just means the short-term weakness is all it means. Is it going to be that important here? If it started rallying and ended up closing lower today, I might be a little bit more concerned, but it could retest 80. But overall, and again, it's outside the band at this point, which is still pretty bullish for the stock. So I would probably stay in here and see if you can't get this thing running back up here towards the $84 level. It might not do it all at once, right? But let this play out. I don't think I'd jump out based on that if that happened to close there with that gravestone like that. Really strong price action yesterday, so it could be a little bit of profit taken in here, but overall the bullishness is still there. So I'm looking back here to see if the gravestones really mean a whole lot to. I don't see a lot of. I see some gravestones over here, like. Let me just zoom in on that, show you what I'm looking at here. There's one over here, but it's not in a position where it's after 3 days of sideways. You want to see these things. So there's a dragonfly, and it did get some follow through. Really not many gravestones that I'm seeing here. Now there was one over here, and that was at the bottom. You'd think that, well, could have been earnings, so that would not be fair. It's a fundamental move there on that gap down. Okay, but no, I still like the price action here. It still looks like to me like it's going to run higher. Okay, so you might have seen in chat, you probably got, you should be getting shortly of notice of a trade that Jeff made just recently. This is a challenge trade, and what I want to do, we're going to spend a little bit more time on video, and if he's going to make trades, he doesn't. If I'm on video, he doesn't want to wait for me to get off and so forth. So we made this new challenge trade. It's on FCX. Again, it's a little bit different. As he just sent this out, he made the trade. I heard it go through. I don't know if that comes through you for yours, but we're on the same account here at Thinkorswim. But we've made a trade, a challenge on FCX. It's made a nice move. He didn't want to wait for me to get off. He just made it, and notifying everybody like that. So thanks, Scott, for that. But this is a bull vibe signal. It's made the ABC correction. We're expecting a move up here ahead of their earnings announcement a week from today. Okay. And I move back here down below 36. Then that would be the assumption of a new uptrend, right? Okay. So I'm sure everybody's busy out there making this trade if you're going to follow it on FCX. Let's go over and take a look at that. If you have any questions, just type those in there. But what we've done, we've bought 7 call contracts for February, the $35 strike price, and we paid 205. All right, nice, Richard. Good. Okay. And again, this is taking the rest of a portion of the money we had left in the challenge and putting it in here to FCX. Okay, we're still in Bank of America, and we're putting the rest of the money into FCX on a push up here ahead of their earnings announcement. Okay, nice, you guys. Slavic, yeah, anywhere in that range, anywhere in the 10-15 cent range is fine on these trades. But okay, sounds good, you guys. Okay, nice, Lowbird and Ron Slawick. All right, so while you guys are going at that, I'm gonna keep going along in here. Look at HPQ. HPQ, it's changed a little bit. Well, actually, since last night, it hasn't changed a whole lot. It was very similar. It ran a little bit into the close, not much from where I went on a top three. It ran a little bit into the close. I don't think a whole lot's changed here. It's still a bullish setup. I couldn't argue getting in here. As far as a stop, I'd still put the 7. It's basically yesterday's low, and that's what we put it as yesterday. Yesterday's low, or the 7-day moving average. And watch that. But it's a nice little breakout here. Now, for Hewlett Packard, I don't have my notes from yesterday in here. Let me just go in and see when their earnings announcement is. Just seems like it's a ways off. Yeah, February 17th for Hewlett Packard, so it's got some time to run. Okay, some other stocks out there. CRM, Salesforce. Yeah, nice. Jasper. Hey, if you made a profit, hey, I'm never going to hear me complain about anybody taking a profit. I don't care if you made $5, $10. You took some money. You didn't lose is one of the most important things when it comes to trading. So if you jumped out, fine. Not going to hear me say, oh, you should have held in there. Because that's all hindsight trading, right? Anytime you take a profit, hey, move on. It's good. It's in the upper Bollinger Band today. It's in there. It's up on some pretty big volumes. Had a decent looking signal yesterday, bull vibe. If I go in here and I bring in, well, let's see this. The vibes. It's been sideways for a while, but overall, no. I mean, yesterday would be considered a bull vibe signal. It's got the averages rising. Too close. The average is rising. The indicator's rising. Let me back in so you can see all that. Up, up, up. Averages rising. What are they doing? He's got some volumes here pushing this move. So what did it do? It jumped up, got above the 7 a little bit right through there, consolidated to it. Yesterday had a nice push up, which was a great signal. I don't know if you got in yesterday on that Jasper or not, but it's a great signal, getting a lot of follow through today, and the volumes are going to exceed yesterday's, which if you took it today, I couldn't argue. It's getting up here towards 60. Not that that's going to be a big substantial level for it. It's probably going to consolidate. It's getting a long ways away from the 7. Now it's approaching 60. There's a chance it might consolidate up here. As far as another entrance, I'd look for some consolidation here at 60, and then set a higher low, lock in somewhere. I don't know, 60, 59 or something like that. Just throwing out numbers here, and then a push higher than saying this thing's going to run up through 60. But no, I couldn't argue taking a gain right here. So nice trade. Scott. That's like that back in the old days of when these things first started, those network marketing companies. Back in the day, that's what they all got accused of: pyramid schemes, and I don't know about brainwashing, but it's yeah, and you could argue that on those things, but no, I mean, overall, they're pretty reputable companies for the most part now. The big old timers have been around a long time, very reputable companies. It's just another way of doing business. All right, I get hit up by two or three of those a year. Don't you all? Don't we all get hit up by some of those a year? But it's just like a business. If you're going to go that way, you're starting your own business, and it's a ton of work. Okay, another chart that's interesting to me is Walgreens. And we've looked at this one here in the past little while, and look what it's done. Vibe bull over here, strong signal vibe bull, gets some follow through, gets away from the 7. Now we're coming back to the 7. We're also coming back and retesting that $60 level. So this is a point to me, if it holds 60, and right now it's just below it. If it can hold 60, or even if it drops below 60, say today, and drops below the 7 a little bit here, what you're looking for is that candle looks like that, breaking up on over 60. Very bullish confirmation. What that would say is, all right, it got through 60, we retested it, now 60 support, and it's likely to run higher. It's too early today to get in on that. It's not likely going to turn around and run up above the 61 level or push higher today. If it does, that would be a phenomenal signal to see this turn and run positive up towards that $61 level today. Be very positive. I don't know if you're going to see that or not, but it's one that's definitely on my list. Again, with Johnson and Johnson, and then you look at Pepsi. And Jeff talked about this morning. We were looking at this one last night for the challenge. It's showing some pretty. It's not a trend rider. It's not a vibe. It's just a strong candlestick action. Run higher here. It gaps down, runs down hard on Monday like everything else, holding the levels. The volumes in here pick up on these days, holding that higher level. And today a reversal, runs negative, and then running up positive. If this thing closes up here above the 83 mark, very tempting to play to the upside. Even at this point, it's still, if you look off the bottom here, we got a bottom, we got a higher low. This would be another higher low. I got the 50-day coming into play right here, but based on this price action and the little bit of a triangle developing here, there's a good chance it could break up through that level. Now, we were already in play on Bank of America, but look at JP Morgan. Very nice, strong, bullish action here today. A rundown on Monday with everything else, and then earnings yesterday, a pretty solid earnings announcement. And then today, it opened flat, and it just run higher. And look at the volumes, big time volumes, and a strong push up here. Breaking over 60, not out of the question at all. They got an uptrend intact here, a very strong move. You wouldn't want to do this one and a Bank of America. They're going to get very similar price action on them. Bank of America, I would just announce earnings today. It's going to take some time to settle it down, but overall, the banks, the balance sheets of the banks are better than ever practically. I read that this morning. Bank of America's CFO saying our balance sheet is the strongest in our history. What's that saying? That's saying they have very low liabilities and very strong assets. It's just bullish. It's just bullish anyway. Anybody wants to look at that, extremely bullish on financials, and then not just the Bank of America, J.P. Morgan's, Wells Fargo. Everyone that is announced so far is saying very similar things as far as their earnings announcement. So just a big positive here for financials. You look at the XLF. There it is. Nice bullish signal. If you're looking at this technically here, you got a nice bullish signal. Today it gaps. Let me go in here for you. Oh, I think I'm way behind on chats. Sorry. Okay. So what do we got? What do we see here on XLF? Again, you wouldn't want to do this one along with a Bank of America or any other financial, but very strong technical action. A big sell on Monday, Bounce on Tuesday. Today gapping over the 7 and pushing up over past resistance. Beautiful technical setup. And that just bodes well for all of our financials. Okay. Nice, nice, Jasper. I'm sorry, I'm just looking at your chat. I had this, I'd scrolled up a little bit on chat. If you scroll up a little bit, they stop coming in. They start coming in down below, as you probably know. So, yeah, I mean, nice. Great trade. Boeing. Not yet. What I'd like to see here on Boeing, and we just saw it kind of on XLF. So it pushed higher here. It's got the sell and a little bit of a news on it yesterday, and it was some smoke and a small fire from a battery. Is it that big a thing? And was there much liability there? No, maybe just a little. To me, it sounded like a way overreaction because some smoke and maybe there was a small fire around a battery. Were people hurt? Was there a bunch of people on board? No, not that I know of. Um, so what you'd be looking for here is a push higher. I don't know if you're going to get it today. It hasn't moved a whole lot. Maybe it will, but what you want here for a strong technical signal is a push above 140. So it broke. 140 is a big number, right? It's a multiple of 10. I mean, psychologically, these multiples of 10 are big for us humans. Even on the day where it sold off, it still held 140. And that's what you'd want to see, a push higher off that. This thing's going 145 or higher, but we're not getting it yet. It's not there yet. It's close, but you'd want to see a bigger, stronger push up off of 140. If it closed like this, it still hold 140. It's still below the 7. You could try to anticipate something here, and it's likely to run up for you. But if you want a little bit more confirmation, that's what you're looking for. A push up off of 140, up and over the 7, and a run towards the 142.5. It doesn't have to hit it, but a stronger push above the 7 is what you'd be after there. Paul, incredible job. Nice. If you're listening to the recording, Paul paid 84 cents for the $45 calls on Wells Fargo. They're sitting at $1.64, double. Pretty much a double. Nice work. Hershey taking on Nutella, huh? I got a daughter that likes Nutella every now and then. Uh, yeah, for Hershey here, do you want this 98 to hold? And we looked at this a little while ago. It was top 3 from Monday of mine. Has pushed higher since, but coming back. You want 98 to hold, and just another push off of 98 and above off of 7 right here. This thing's going to 100. But right now, yeah, it's down, but it's not technically significant. Technically significant, really, to me, man, it down here to the 50-day moving average, but a little bit near term would be that 7, right? The shorter term would be the 7. Yes, all the banks making money. There's a lot going into this move on the banks. It's the balance sheets. They're clearing the balance sheets, getting rid of a lot of the liabilities they've had. A lot of the feds have taken on those liabilities from the banks to help them out, and we're starting to see that almost across the board. I mean, what we got? Citi, isn't Citi announcing tomorrow, I believe? So is Citi going to be much of a surprise to anybody if they come out with decent earnings? No, it's not. We've had the big dogs already do it, and Citi, is it making a move today? Yeah, I mean, this is the second time in a row, starting with J.P. Morgan, Wells Fargo, and now Bank of America with some incredibly strong numbers. Citi's already making a move ahead of their earnings announcement. What if they miss slightly? Is it going to change a whole lot? Not likely. It's not likely going to make that big a deal. I mean, that's one of the reasons we got into Bank of America. We thought even a slight miss isn't going to really affect it a whole lot. I mean, the balance sheets are looking great. The big announcements have already come out. So is it going to be a big surprise if Citi, runs higher tomorrow off of a great announcement? No, it's got a little bit of that baked into it already off the move here today. Gap up and a run up, 1.5%. But it's not going to be a big surprise to see him beat and have a great balance sheet like we've already seen so far, because these financials are all right, very similar. Tightly regulated. They're much more transparent is the word I'm trying to think of than they have been. Yeah, I want to go. Let's go over here to FinViz just for a minute here. Then I'm gonna jump off. Now look at where the money's flowing today. Look at the big areas here. Not a whole lot of selling. Pretty flat. I mean, the dark areas, right? They're just not moving. Yeah, utilities not really down, not really going anywhere. Consumer goods, industrial goods, basic materials, nothing down too big, not really going anywhere besides the Tesoros. Um, Services, kind of the same. Look where the money's flowing today. Financials. That's where you're seeing all the green today. Financials, tech. You see a lot of money flowing to this area. Everywhere else, it's just kind of hit and miss. But the bigger companies in these other areas, they're just fairly flat. And GE down here, conglomerates, yeah, the conglomerates are doing all right. The GEs, the UTXs, the 3Ms, they're doing okay. Up about a percentage or so, 1% or so. But this is the strong areas right now. It's for good reason, right? All right, everybody. I'm gonna jump off here, put together my top three. It's running late. Uh, look for my top three in a little while. Again, check the message center and the emails and everything. We made a trade on FCX. If you're just tuning us, we bought 7 call contracts for February $35 strike price, and we paid 205 for them. All right, anything in that range, you're fine. Okay. Thank you. I'll talk to you soon. Thanks. Bye bye.